Welcome to Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati as Fox Sports Ohio brings you Cincinnati Reds baseball as the Reds take on the Buccos in Game 2 of a 4-game set following the week that was. Hi, hello, and welcome to Cincinnati, everyone. Along with the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley, and Jim Day, I'm George Grant. Well, for the last week, a whole lot of rumors. The week is now over. The Reds didn't make any major blockbusters today, but they did make a major trade last night. Mike Leake joined Johnny Cueto, leaving the Reds clubhouse in Cowboy. The Reds get back two pretty good young ball players.
Yeah, they did. They got Louisville native Adam Duvall. We saw him a little bit in the big leagues a year ago. As a matter of fact, he hit his first major league home run off of Mike Leake in San Francisco. Kiuri Maya, awfully good arm, even though he's an A-ball arm, a tremendous arm. He was the #1 prospect in the Giants organization, and that's come up in a hurry. So that should tell you a little something about that.
We'll talk more about that deal and the ensuing moves that the Reds have made during the course of tonight's ball game. But also the Pirates have been very active as well. They get Joaquin Soria. He's in the bullpen. That's a big boost for them.
Well, it is, because he's a closer in waiting. I mean, he is closed for the Tigers. Now he's a guy that will not be closing with Melanson there, but he gives you a presence at the end of the ball game. Maybe a Soria, Watson, Melanson combination. I'd say that's pretty tough.
The Pirate bullpen has been either 1, 2, or 3 all season long. They've been pretty good. Now let's take a look at tonight's ball game. Michael Lorenzen will try to bounce back from a subpar start last time against a guy who's been a tough lefty for the Buccos.
Yeah, I think for Lorenzen, the difficulty in Colorado was not just the light air. It was all the things that were surrounding Johnny Cueto and the trade issue, the conversation that he had with Cueto, and I think it affected him mentally. We have not seen Lorenzen have that kind of ball game at any point in time in this season, and I surely don't expect it tonight. I expect him to bounce back and pitch his ball game. Jeff Locke, on the other hand, he's been tough against the Reds, but he's had a difficult time in this ballpark.
Well, coming up, that's your matchup pitching-wise, and while Lorenzen will try to bounce back, Joey Votto will try to keep it rolling. Jim Day has that story next on Fox Sports Ohio.
Cincinnati USA Regional Tourism Network. Stay close to CincinnatiUSA.com. By Chevy. Check out their award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. And by Skyline Chili. Feeling good? It's Skyline time.
Well, a couple boys leaving the Reds. You got to look on the bright side. How about BP's 7 RBIs last night? From now until about 8 o'clock tonight, just a slight chance of a thunder shower here and there. Isolated in nature, not a real good chance for hitting the ballpark. Just thought I'd mention it. Otherwise, mostly sunny and then mostly clear skies. 85 to start. Headed home, you're looking at 74. How about a few more, BP? Oh, yeah, right up the middle. Not too in. Enjoy the game, everybody, on Fox Sports Ohio.
Tim, thank you very much. I'm Jim Day on the field. It has been a pleasure to watch Joey Votto hit over his career, and this stretch since the All-Star break has been especially enjoyable. Let's check out our IGS bringing the energy. You could barely say that he is flat out bringing it. Since the All-Star break, first in batting average, just hitting .542. First in hits, first in runs, tied for first with 16 walks. That's got that on-base percentage up to .662. First in the major leagues, and a slugging percentage of .896. He's been bringing it in the middle of that lineup, and the Reds have been the benefactor, playing good baseball of late. Can they make it 2 in a row over the Pirates? We shall find out together as Michael Lorenzen, a rookie, a chance to bounce back tonight on a personal level. George Grant and the Cowboy Jeff Brantley with the lineups and first pitch next.
Cincinnati, what a picture-perfect night for baseball. It was picture-perfect last night for the Reds as they piled up 15 runs in a 10-run victory over the Buccos. They've won 3 in a row. Clint Hurdle's club, they've been red hot of late, though. They have the best record, 16-9 in July in the National League. So it's an uncommon night after for Clint Hurdle, who turned 58 yesterday. Hopes to turn the page on that today. Let's check the starting lineup for Hurdle and the Buccos. Polanco will lead it off. Starling Marte bats second. And the speedy outfield hits 1, 2, and 3 with McCutcheon in the number 3 spot on the threshold of 300 again. Aramis Ramirez started his Bucco and traded back to the Buccos last week. Young, Walker, Alvarez, Cervelli, and Locke. That's 1 through 9, your Bucco batting order. And here is Michael Lorenzen, Cowboy.
6 innings of 3-hit, 1-run baseball against the Pirates back on May 5th. And I would expect Brian Price is looking for that same type of bounce-back performance here tonight.
Last night, first time up, Polanco dumped a bunt down at third, got it for a base hit. Here he falls behind quickly, 0-2. So Frazier, who was at the edge of the grass, moves back to his normal third base spot. No balls, 2 strikes to Polanco with Marte on deck. Dribbled out in front of the plate. Lorenzen has it, and he hits him in the back. He'll be safe at first. That's the speed of Polanco. I think Lorenzen thought in a normal situation, Cowboy, that's an easy out. But with him motoring down the line, he's like Billy Hamilton.
He does not let up one bit. And this ball tails into the runner. Lorenzen gets to the ball quickly, but he just threw the ball to the wrong side of the bag.
Going to be scored a base hit, because I think if you look where he is, he might have beaten it out anyways. So base hit for Polanco, the leadoff hitter on. And here comes Marte. Polanco last night had a couple of hits and a walk on base 3 of the 5 times he came to the plate. Marte also had 2 hits last evening. The lengthy game where both managers substituted freely. All 3 of these guys, Polanco, Marte, and McCutchen, all stayed in for the full night. An uncommon night for the Buccos last night. Their bullpen failed. A.J. Burnett, there goes the runner. Pitch out. They got a shot at him. It's high, and he's going to be safe. Well, they planned it right, but Pena throw goes wide and high, so it's a stolen base for Polanco, and there's a runner in scoring position.
Well, this is going to go down as a base hit and then a stolen base, but realistically, on a pitch out, you should throw the runner out. And on a ball hit back to the pitcher's mound, you should get the runner out at first base. And the Reds were not able to do that on either play.
So one batter, and the Reds really have given away 2 outs already. You get 27 to close out a game, and you get the 30, 31, 32 outs. You're giving the opposition more opportunities than you want to. Marte, with his hits last night, has stretched his hitting streak to 9 straight. So runner in scoring position. Reds will have the shortstop De Jesus right behind him. And that got him on the arm. Or did it hit the bat? Let's see. They'll throw to first. No motion. Pena says throw to first. And coming out from the dugout will be Hurdle to first check on his player, but also check with the umpire.
That looked like it hit the very knob of the bat, the bottom of the bat. And you can see where Marte holds the bat. He's got his hand underneath.
It sounded like it hit the bat from here.
It sounded like it hit the bat and then hit his wrist. Actually, it may have hit the backside of just above the bone on the wrist, on the fat part of your backside of your hand and the knob of the bat at the same time. But there's been no indication at all from any umpire that that ball hit or that it was a hit by pitch or even questioned at this point.
Polanco still sitting at third where he went after the bouncer was thrown to first by Lorenzen.
And they're going to challenge this. Pirates are already nodding yes. They want to challenge the fact that the ball hit Starling Marte.
So Kerwin Danley will head along with Joe West to the replay area right by the visiting dugout here at Great American Ballpark.
But I'm with you, George. I thought the ball hit the end of the bat at the same time that it made contact with his hand. And a lot of hitters hold that bat. Actually, some of them wrap their pinky around the barrel, the bottom of that bat.
That's right off the. Yes, it hit his hand, but it looked like it got mostly bat.
Yeah, you would not think that the ball would roll that far if it had been flush on the bottom hand.
Usually it would glance to the left or the right, not go right back. Correct. And the sound, we could hear it up here. You could hear the sound of ball against bat. There's Danley to the left, Joe West, the crew chief. Danley's your home plate umpire. Rob Drake at first, DJ Rayburn at second, and the crew chief is Joe West.
It's going to be, he's going to first.
Yep. So Polanco will go back to second. Hit by pitch is the ruling, and down to first will go Marte. So in reality, for the Reds, it's keeps in play a double play possibility with McCutchen coming up. So if they can turn 2, they can still get out of this inning without giving up trouble. But what Todd Tomczyk is worried about right now is his left fielder okay and going to be able to stay in the game.
This is how the Pirates make their offense go, by getting Polanco and Marte aboard for this big fella. He may not be a big fella in stature, but he's a big fella when he's got that bat in his hand, and that's Andrew McCutchen.
We've had guys, of course, Josh Harrison is not with the club right now. He's still recovering from a hand injury, and he's been just lethal against the Reds, the Cincinnati product. And McCutchen comes out of that same mold. He's hit .330 in the last 22 games he's played here at Great American Ballpark. The Reds will be a double play depth middle of the infield, hoping to turn 2 against McCutchen, who's in at .294. Big swing and a strike. Last night McCutchen was 0 for 2 and then finished strong with 3 base hits. That's a strike, says Danley, and it's 0-2.
This is the one thing you have to understand about Michael Lorenzen. His mentality, regardless of what goes on behind him, if he makes the mistake, he's able to forget about it and continue to battle through it.
He got him. Now a double play can get him out of the inning. A strikeout for Lorenzen, strikeout number 1, and here comes Aramis Ramirez.
Inside fastball, outside fastball, and then he climbs the ladder with a 2-seamer. And it's 95 miles an hour up there. That's tough to get to.
Even against the former MVP. Here's Aramis at .243, 11 homers, 44 knocked in. In his 18-year career, he's approaching 200 homers, sitting at 194. And of those 194, 37 of them have come against the Reds. So whether he's been in a Cub uniform or a Milwaukee uniform or a Pirate uniform, he's done damage against Cincinnati.
Right now he's hitting the ball that's out over the plate. Doesn't quite have the bat speed he had used to.
Got in on him a little bit. Battling the sun is Jason Bourgeois. He'll glove it right at the edge of what is the trickiest part of the ballpark right now. This
Sun
time
City.
of year, man, that's tough. So 2 away. Here comes Young, and here's your 4 defensive alignment. In left, Jason Bourgeois will start. Hamilton is over in center, and Marlon Byrd moves from left to right. Jay Bruce has the night off to start the night. Frazier, De Jesus at short. Phillips and Votto as usual on the right side, and Pena behind the plate. That's your 4 defensive alignment. Reds come in 4th in the league in defense. Hit to center field. Back is Hamilton, looking up, reaching up, won't get it. It's 1 hop off the wall, and the Reds will get a break. Only 1 run will score. I mean, easily Marte would have scampered home too, but Ramirez will end up with a double that plates 1, and it's 1-0. Rather, Gunn will end up with a double that plates 1, and it's 1-0 Buccos.
Hit this ball pretty well. But as we were saying about Bourgeois catching the ball in the sun, it appeared Hamilton, as he broke back, did not realize that the ball was hit that well. It's tough to judge that ball when the sun's right in your eyeballs.
So it'll be 2nd and 3rd with 2 away, and here's Neil Walker, the second baseman, last year's Silver Bat winner in the National League. Another guy that's had pretty good power numbers here at Great American with 7 homers and 13 knocked in. 5 of those home runs that he's hit this year, 9 have come in this month of July. It's a Pirate team that we talked about. Their bullpen. It's been great. Their starting pitching has been solid. They bolstered the bullpen with the addition of Joaquin Soria, and Clint Hurdle knows full well that this team that scored now 116 runs during the month of July has been hitting the ball pretty good. The other question mark that they have looking ahead is A.J. Burnett after last night's performance, Cowboy.
Yeah, it seemed like they just decided to put him on the disabled list, let him recover a little bit, see if he can get a little life back in his arm.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Lorenzen's been ahead in the count to 4 of the 5 batters he's faced. Even here at 2-2 after the ball. They got a hustle. De Jesus gets it across, and they get him by a step. But a double by Gong ends up plating a run, and the Buccos lead it 1-0. And the Reds. Brandon Phillips, what a night he had last night. 7 runs batted in. He'll be in the leadoff spot again. Jason Bourgeois will bat second. Joey Votto will hit in the number 3 spot. His numbers continue to be phenomenal for the post All-Star period. Frazier, who had last night off, will hit behind him in the 4-hole. Bird, Pena, De Jesus, Lorenzen in the 8th spot, and Hamilton bats in the number 9 position. And on the mound for the Pittsburgh Pirates, Jeff Locke.
Locke's had a couple of tough starts against the Reds here in 2015. He's pitched well overall against the Reds at PNC Park, but not here at Great American Ballpark.
Here's Brandon. We talk a lot about the couple of weeks that Joey Votto's had. What a night that Brandon Phillips had. After the game, he was in Rick Stowe's office. He had his bat signed, his jersey signed, his spikes and everything on the way to the Hall of Fame after 7 runs batted in. 2 home runs, 2 3-run shots. Sweet swings that ended up in just about the same spot, Cowboy.
Yeah, you got a change up the first time and a fastball up the second time, but both times they hit them out, and they were probably within 10 feet of where they landed of each other.
Bouncer. Bobbled by Alvarez, but he'll get it to Locke in time for the out. Pedro makes the play. He did commit another error last night, but he makes that play, and there's 1 away. Check your forward defensive alignment for the Pirates. One of the speediest outfields in all of Major League Baseball. Marte in left, McCutchen in center, Polanco in right. Aramis Ramirez at third, Gong at short, Walker at second, and Alvarez over at first, with Cervelli behind the plate. Here's Jason in at 194, no homers and 3 knocked in. Well, the one thing that's pretty clear, Cowboy, is that now with the deals that have been made, that Mike Leake is gone and Johnny Cueto gone, the change in the Reds roster has Kyle Waldrop up from AAA, and Bourgeois and Waldrop certainly will get some chance to show what they can do out in left field probably. And while the trading deadline is over, the non-waiver trading deadline is over, there's still a possibility that the Reds might deal Marlon Byrd, still a possibility that another deal could come. It's a bouncer over Locke's head. Walker charging. They got him by the slimmest of margins. Nice play by Walker. No indication that Brian Price is inquiring about a challenge on this play.
A high bounder. Bourgeois has got some speed. Pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Brian Price at the edge of the steps now heads back to his normal spot, so there will be no challenge from the Reds. 2 away, and here's Joey. We showed you on the pregame show, and then we've been talking about it seemingly every at bat. Cowboy, his numbers have been phenomenal. He's dialed in time to time. He's been in a hot zone, but he's dialed in a red hot zone right now.
There's no doubt about that. And it's not as though he's just made 4 or 5 ball games where his numbers have been escalated and the rest of the time he's not hit. I mean, he's on base every time he comes to the ballpark. He shows up at first, literally.
That's up and in. Last night he singled, doubled, walked, and he flied out to left and then singled his last time up. He added all up. Since the All-Star break, first in batting average, first in hits, first in runs, tied for first in walks, first in on-base percentage, fourth in slugging percentage. That's in the major leagues, not the National League.
I'd say that's a pretty good start to the second half.
That's Barry Bonds-ish. Remember when he was dialed in?
Yeah.
Man.
To sit in the dugout and watch him perform.
And he's on base again. He's hit safely in 11 of his 14 since the All-Star break, and unbelievably has reached base in now 90 of the last 100 games he's played in. Another notch on the on-base percentage ladder. What a year Goldschmidt's having, and what a year Harper's having. Short lead for Joey with 2 away. Here's Frazier, who had last night off. See Jim Riggleman rolling through the signs at third in the third base coach's box as usual. Billy Hatcher down at first. Out at the plate, 1-1. Lockett, his career is 2-2 with an ERA of 3.26. But this one will get away from Cervelli. Votto will roll into second, so the Reds have a runner in scoring position and a 2-1 count on Frazier.
When you've got a hitter like Frazier at the plate, you try to make the perfect pitch, and Locke tried to get that changeup really turned over, and he just pulled it straight into the dirt. You could see a little bit of tentative pitching with Votto at the plate, even with lefty on lefty.
Change up way out in front. That's a call, strike 3. Locked him up. The Reds get a walk. Nothing to show for it. Going to the top of 2. Alvarez will lead it off.
Our Elk and Elk storylines brought to you by Elk and Elk, and it's all about Michael Lorenzen. Young pitcher, and we're going to see a lot of him. Always in sync with that delivery. You see him very smooth as he comes to the plate. You saw how he handled the pressure with a couple of runners on there in the first inning. And I'm going to tell you, folks, when you see this guy, you talk about prime condition. Head to toe, he could play tight end on a football team.
He is an athlete. Lorenzen ready to go to work. Here we go in the second. Alvarez will lead it off.
But as with anything with young pitchers, when you get up here, instead of trying to make your breaking ball a swing and miss breaking ball all the time, you've got to be consistent where you can get it for a strike, especially when you're behind in the count.
You've talked about it a lot as this year has progressed, that his ball moves so well. And in talking with him prior to this start, he's admitted that he's got to get ahead of batters better. So far, he's doing it. And one of the things he's talked to Barnhart and Pena about, instead of setting up on the corners early in the count, set up right in the middle of the plate. Let the ball take over. Sometimes you try to be too fine as a young pitcher.
Yeah, his ball has a natural run to it into right-handers, away from left-handers. And I think as he matures as a pitcher, he's going to use the inside part of the plate more. I think he's going to get more sink on the fastball as he gets more comfortable on the mound.
Looped into right center. Here comes Billy.
See, that's the strike breaking ball I'm talking about right there. It fools hitters. When you throw 95 miles an hour with movement, every hitter is up there thinking, all right, I've got to get the bat head out and I've got to make sure I follow that fastball. See the curveball. He has Alvarez well out in front. Even jammed him a little bit because he tried to slow the bat down. But all of these things come with more starts and more repetition. I mean, we're only talking about Lorenzen's 15th start of the year. It doesn't come overnight, folks. It takes a little while.
That breaking ball backed up, but it drops in for a strike to Cervelli. Cervelli in at 303, 5 homers, 37 knocked in. Multi-hit games in 5 of his last 7, and he's been solid behind the plate. Pirates are very happy with this young catcher they got from the Yankees.
Yeah, I think when you talk about young pitching, you can teach them about pitch selection, breaking ball grips, when to throw what, but you can't teach them intestinal fortitude. You can't teach them not to be afraid. They have to come with that, and this guy has that.
De Jesus there, and there's 2 away. 2 pop-ups, 1 to center, 1 to the shortstop. pleasant memories for Michael against the Buccos. How's this for a win against the Pirates for his first career W?
And what's amazing to me, George, is his mechanics are so smooth. When you have runners aboard, if you didn't look at the base paths, you would never know any difference in his presence on the mound. He has mound presence. You can't teach that. That's why Lorenzen got here so quickly, is because he's unflappable. I mean, he has tremendous confidence. Now it's just about learning the league and learning about himself a little bit, and things will start to come together. But I love this kid's arm. I love his ability to compete, and I think everybody in this organization does, and everybody expects big things from him.
2 balls, 1 strike. That's a strike. Michael was drafted by the Reds in June of 2013. Was a competitive lottery pick, the 38th overall pick, and after coming out of Cal State Fullerton, the scouts were divided. I mean, there were some scouts from other teams that said this guy is going to be a major leaguer as a position player. He was an outstanding position player in the outfield and a closer. But the Reds stretched the envelope, thinking that not only could he be a pitcher, but he could be a starting pitcher.
Yeah, when you watch him bat and you watch him run the bases, you would not know he's a pitcher. And it also tells you the experience or lack thereof that he's had on the mound. He was only pitching 1 inning every 5 or 6 days at Fullerton.
Missing wide. There's a walk to the pitcher lock. First walk allowed by Lorenzen, and back to the top of the order, Polanco, who reached on a ball that was called a base hit in the first inning. He dribbled one out in front of the plate. Lorenzen picked it up, hit him in the back as he ran down to first. The official score ruling that he would have beaten it out anyway, so he got a base hit, then went to second on a stolen base when the Reds pitched out, but the throw by Pena was high. Marte was then hit by a pitch, and a double by Gunn produced the run for the Buccos. Rip curving foul down the right field line.
Comes in with the fastball. Even though that pitch was elevated, it was in off the plate. The only place that Polanco could hit it was foul.
Did he go? Yes, he did. Good bounce back after the walk. 1-0 Buccos. Bird will lead it off. Pena and De Jesus will follow.
I'm Jim Day. The trade deadline has come and gone. Jay Bruce rumored, well, there are tons of rumors out there for him, and more speculation once the lineup came out today and Jay Bruce was not in it. Everyone thinking, uh-oh, something's up, he's going to be traded. But Brian Price squelched those rumors right away. In fact, he told Jay Bruce last night that he would not be in the lineup against the lefty Locke. In a 4-game series, he's always looking to give one of these guys a day off. And this will be the day off that he picked and doesn't really have one in the foreseeable future. Now, I was around Jay Bruce's locker in the clubhouse as the 4 o'clock deadline came and went. And I got to tell you, he was nervous, and he said, just took a sigh and said, I am so relieved. He said, a lot of people think we're just robots out there, but I am human. I want to be a Red. I didn't want to be traded, and I still don't want to be traded. He was very, very relieved that he did not get traded.
And he's sincere in saying that, Cowboy. I think he's made it clear from the beginning that he wants to remain a Red. And this whole process, we saw Mike Leake go through it and Johnny Cueto, and it's worn on him too. Even with the overshift to the left side against Bird, Marlin bangs it off the glove of the third baseman Ramirez. He has a base hit, so the leadoff hitter on for the Reds here in the 2nd inning.
Special talent allows you to play at this level, but everybody's human. You still have feelings, you still have emotions. I mean, and it doesn't just affect the guys they're talking about trading. It affects the rest of the team. I mean, you've got friends, you've got acquaintances, you've got guys that you've made great relationships with. It affects your family as well.
Mike Leake is on his way to join the San Francisco Giants after being traded around midnight last night after the ball game was over. And we've been talking about the specifics of the trade, and we'll continue to track it as the night progresses. But the Mike Leake side of it, he's going to a pretty good place, Cowboy. One of the best pitching coaches in the game in Dave Righetti, an organization that treats its players correctly, and a team that knows how to win, and also a ballpark that's conducive to pitching in.
Yeah, it's a great organization. They really bring in the crowd seemingly every day, and I think they're getting a great product in Mike Leake. I think he's a tremendous competitor. He's pitched very well in that ballpark when the Reds have played out there, and I think he's going to help them a lot. I think they'll be awfully happy, and I think the Reds are happy with what they got in return.
A bat that could be major league ready by next year, and an arm that could be major league ready by next year too. Pena fouls it off. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Ryan in at 274, no homers, 11 knocked in. Here's the wild card picture. The Giants a half game back of the Dodgers in the West, and they are at the wild card 2nd spot leadership right now with the Cubs 2 back. Mets 4.5 back. And most of the rumors we heard surrounding Jay Bruce zeroed in on the Mets in the last few days. That did not come to fruition. That's a call, strike 3 on the inner part of the plate. Pena strikes out. 2nd strikeout for Locke. Both of them looking, and here comes De Jesus.
Well, that is the pitching execution of Jeff Locke. He gives you that slow changeup, backdoor breaking ball to lull you to sleep, and then he comes in with the fastball. He got Frazier there, and he gets Brian Pena here. Almost identical pitches and identical setup to get there.
There's De Jesus in at 282, 3 homers and 12 knocked in, with Bird short lead down at first. Hit pretty good to left. Did he get enough of it? Marte going back, looking up, going to be gone. Oh, it was home run derby for the Reds last night. Bird had a 3-run shot. Phillips had 2 3-run shots. And here, Ivan De Jesus, club's number 4 on the season, a 2-run shot, and the Reds lead at 2-1.
Well, De Jesus was paying attention to how Locke was going after each of the Reds hitters to start this game. Soft early, hard late. He lays that curveball up over the plate, trying to get ahead in the count. That baby ends up in the seats.
Sounded good, looked good, and by the time it hit seats, it's about 10 rows deep. Another spot similar to where Phillips hit his 2 last night. So here's Lorenzen hitting in the 8th spot now with a 2-1 lead.
short and compact by DeJesus. He gets the front foot down, head down on the ball. That's nice.
His dad somewhere in the stands tonight, I'm sure. He's been around all year since he came up, but you know there's a big smile on his face. The apple doesn't fall far from the tree, and his dad was a consummate professional and major leaguer, and this young man's out of the same mold.
Yeah, his dad had that short, compact swing, but when he made contact with the baseball, it jumped off his bat as well.
1 ball, 1 strike to Lorenzen. That misses wide. Nub towards left center, sinking. That'll drop in front of McCutchen. Lorenzen will hold at first, takes a big turn, and the Reds have their 3rd hit of the inning. Base hit by Bird, homer by DeJesus, and this base hit with 1 out by Lorenzen brings Hamilton to the plate.
How many pitchers can fight off a fastball right on their hands? Lorenzen gets his hands inside the ball just like a normal hitter. Pushes it right on out into left center field. I would say he's got a silver bat in his future.
I think you might be right. That's a good point. Well, the Reds lost one outstanding offensive pitcher in Mike Leake, but this guy's right out of the same mold. Here's Billy at 228. That's a strike. Hamilton last night reached on an infield hit, reached on an error, had a couple of stolen bases, now sitting at 49 on the season. Now, interesting because you were a position player. You were a shortstop in high school. When you went to Mississippi State, you were a shortstop. Then you became a pitcher. And when you get to the major league, so often, you know, pitchers hang around with pitchers because you want to learn your craft. And Lorenzen's done that. We've seen him, you know, starting in spring training, hanging around,
sitting right by Johnny Cueto all the time.
Yep. And he also hangs around the hitters. So it's not like he's forgetting his offensive game. He'll talk to Bruce. He'll talk to Votto.
He's a competitor from the word go. Is it? Regardless of whether he's in the batter's box or on the mound, Lorenzen competes. That is an attractive virtue.
Way out in front of the changeup. 2 balls and 2 strikes. You have moments that are frozen in your memory as a player, and certainly when you think of different players. Billy digs in. Here's the 2-2. And in line with what we were saying, watching, you know, even when I'm home watching the games on TV and we take a shot of the dugout, Lorenzen's not pitching, sitting next to Cueto, talking baseball.
All the time.
And the last memory that I'll have of Johnny Cueto is in Denver in the lobby of the hotel, sitting with Michael Lorenzen. And Lorenzen's still picking his brain, and his last day as a Red. That's a walk to Billy, so the Reds get another base runner. 2 on, 1 out, and back to the top of the order, Brandon Phillips. Hey, Reds fan, if a Reds home run hits the Toyota sign during today's game, Dan Book from Graybill, Indiana will win this beautiful new Tundra on display at Great American Ballpark. Register for your chance to win at an upcoming game by seeing your Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Good looking truck. Ray Searage out to talk to his lefties. Had a whole night of working a path from the dugout to the mound yesterday, and when we had a chance to talk to him today, Cowboy, it's pretty clear that they were working on something with A.J. Burnett after he had a subpar performance last night. Didn't look like he was himself.
And you look back at the the 2 starts prior to last night since the All-Star break, that was not the A.J. Burnett that we saw in the first half. I mean, 7-3 with a 2. I mean, he's an all-star, 2.11 ERA. And his ERA has jumped almost, it's probably above 3 at this point after last night's ball game. And this is a guy they've got to have.
They'll back him off from a couple of starts, and then hopefully he'll get recalibrated, and they'll have him for the stretch run. Here's Brandon. Hit a chopper down to first that Alvarez turned into an out. 0 for 1. Living on that changeup, swing and a miss, 0-2. We talked about the Reds transactions again to reiterate what the Buccos have done. Joaquin Soria, outstanding out of the bullpen. He's been a closer, picked up his 200th save this year. He'll be as a setup guy to Mark Melanson. Jay Happ will help to bolster that starting rotation. That's a shot in the left, a base hit. They'll hold a runner at third as Marte has a good arm and is quick to get to the ball. So the bases are loaded. A hit, a walk, and a hit. And here comes Bourgeois. Those 3 swings last night sounded good. So did that one.
Look back on the last few ball games for the Reds. The offense has just been on fire.
And the 3 hardest hit balls have come off that breaking ball from Locke tonight. Bird single, De Jesus homer, and the base hit by Brandon right there. Bourgeois bounced out first time up. Pirates will stay at double play depth, middle of the infield, hoping to turn 2 and get out of the inning. And Locke pretty proficient in coaxing ground balls.
Well, he's come in twice with fastballs. I believe he'll go away here with a changeup. More than likely, that's his money pitch.
1-1.
Comes in again with a fastball. That's 3 in a row. He has not thrown 3 straight fastballs to any batter until now. All inside to Bourgeois.
One and 2.
Looks like the curveball from Locke is coming out of his hand a little prematurely, staying up high. He's getting underneath that pitch.
Down to short. They'll have to hustle. They go to third and they get an out, but a run will score. Smart play by the shortstop. He had no chance at second and no chance to turn 2, so he got what he could. That was the out at third.
Pirates very fortunate to get that out, especially with Billy Hamilton running. Ramirez was off the bag. He had to retreat in a hurry back to third base. And they got him on the tag rather than the force.
And a good tag slapped by Ramirez, who couldn't find a bag. He was reaching for it, never got his foot on it. Had he not tagged him, Billy would have been safe. So the goal is a run batted in, the 4th of the year for Jason. Phillips is over at second. Bourgeois down at first, and here's Joey. There go the runners, and chalk them up. 2 stolen bases.
Jeff Locke did not check second base at all.
The Reds have had a field day running so far in this series.
Come set, looking at the bag, but never look back.
Base hit can produce 2 here for Joey. He walked his first time up.
You hear it all the time, George, from pitching coaches and from your managers. Vary your looks at the bases. Vary your hold times with a runner at first base. You don't have to do it every time, but you have to do it enough to where the dugout doesn't think that you're getting in a pattern. Those patterns in this game are deadly.
And he's 3-0 to Votto. Now the numbers continue to rise for the Reds. 28 of 29 of third base. And you know about Billy. They've never caught him this year going to third. Joey dialed up at the 3-0 and fouls it off. And it's almost a red flag if you're a left-hander. I mean, Barry Larkin and Joe Morgan always said it. With a left-hander on the mound, third first is the easiest base to steal. And with a left-hander, if you don't check me, I've got it in my back pocket. And the Reds executed that here. Look out.
There's that curveball again.
He does not have a feel for that pitch at all tonight. He's walked Votto twice. And that'll bring up Frazier. Frazier called out on strikes his first time up. There's Clint Hurdle on the left, Dave Joss, the bench coach, on the right. Look out.
Not really a guy you want to face with the bases loaded here in Todd Frazier.
And you almost had a feeling he really didn't want to face Votto in that at bat either. I mean, the first three pitches hardly near the plate.
Pick your poison.
In the dirt, swing and a miss. And Cervelli keeps it in front.
First pitch change up. And he actually threw that one, looked like it cut inside a bit. Frazier thinking it was a fastball and swings a little early.
Phillips down at third, Bourgeois at second, and Votto off first. 2 away for the Reds. A home run by De Jesus made it 2-1. The ground out RBI for Bourgeois made it 3-1 here in the second. Ball and a strike. 27-year-old lefty peers in for a sign from Cervelli. You talked about the difference in Jay Bruce and that he's much more relaxed at the plate, and really that you can pin that tail on Frazier too this year. I mean, even there you see he's not trying to pull the ball to the left side. He's content to go to center, go to right, and it's translated in a pretty good offensive year. 27 homers, 67 knocked in. Towards the middle of the infield, they'll get the force at second, and the Reds will strand 3. But Ivan De Jesus clubs a 2-run homer, add another, and the Reds lead it 3-1. your Reds take on the Buccos for as low as $12, plus the first 25,000 fans in attendance receive a Devin Mesoraco bobblehead presented by St. Elizabeth Healthcare. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. Great to see Devin out on the field today during batting practice. Still a ways away from, of course, starting baseball activities, and got a little bit of his hitch in his giddy up cowboy, but he said he feels good. That's the good news. So step one has been accomplished. Now little by little it's getting back, and hopefully he'll be raring to go come spring training.
Yeah, it's like we were talking about with Homer Bailey last night. Homer will tell you he doesn't even feel as though he had surgery. And all of those are great things. Now granted, the rehab process is slow when you come back from Tommy John. It's a little quicker with the hip, but it still takes time. But when you feel good mentally, you feel like, okay, I can get back to the player that I was before I had to have surgery. And that's a huge hurdle.
Sometimes the mental hurdle is a lot tougher than the physical hurdle.
Amen.
I can still remember you coming back from your surgery, watching you on the training table at the Metrodome in Minneapolis, and Greg Lynn marveled at the fact you were coming back so rapidly. And the one thing I remember, he said, the one thing I know is that he's going to give it everything he has. Sometimes you give it everything you have and it just doesn't respond.
Yeah. Well, you do all of the protocols that they set forth for you, and the part about it is you're doing extra work, whether it's your shoulder, your hip, or your elbow, but you still have to keep the rest of your body in shape too, and you've got to continue to push that. That blood flow is the key.
Marte did go around, strike out get the first out of the third inning, and here's McCutchen, who struck out for Lorenzen's first strikeout back in the first. So 3 punch outs for Lorenzen so far tonight. And speaking of being on the comeback trail, Mesoraco is feeling good on his way back. And here's Lorenzen's delivery to McCutchen. We want to wish the best to our good buddy Mark Goldsmith. Many years a producer director with us here at Fox Sports Ohio, still works on the technical side here at Great American Ballpark, and on the job as he always is, doing the best he can. He took a fall from our remote truck area this week, went to the hospital. He's back recuperating. We look forward, Goldie, to seeing you back here. In the air to right center field. It'll stay in the park though. Bird will track it down. It's not only the ball players that have to go through rehab. Goldie's got a few bumps and bruises that'll prevent him from being at the park for a while, but you know he's going to be back.
Never a fun thing to go under the knife.
And you played golf with the Howitzer a few times. He's got a pretty good swing.
Yep.
Question is, where's it going when he hits it? Come on, Goldie. Look forward to having you back. Here's a Ramos Ramirez, flied out his first time up. Rip curving foul down the third base line.
See, I love that pitch from Lorenzen. It starts middle in. The hitter says, I'm going to smash this ball, and by the time the bat head gets there, the ball has run in off the plate. The only thing that you can do with it is pull it foul.
"18 years a major leaguer," Ramos steps in. 1-2. Bounce behind second. Phillips got him. Strikeout, fly ball, ground ball. 1-2-3.
Reds Live, the pregame edition. First look at the lineups, features, interviews, and more. Reds Live pregame brought to you by Ray St. Clair Roofing. I'm Jim Day. They had the third annual I Do's on the diamond before tonight's game, where couples lined up, took their vows, gave some smooches, and became husband and wife on this field. Some were dressed in gowns, some were very casual, as you see that couple there, and one group, oh, hello. And one groom actually had shorts on, and having gone through the wedding myself, I was very envious of this gentleman. So the third annual I Do's on the diamond, and we wish those couples the best of luck in life.
Amen, JD. Wish them all the best. By the way, speaking of being dressed for that wedding day, you look pretty dapper again tonight. I tell you, the one thing I've noticed, I mean, you've always been the best in the business. We know that from day one when you started working with us. You cover baseball like no other reporter does, and we're blessed to have you. But Cowboy, the one thing you haven't gotten him is one of those pocket squares. You guys, I love those things. I can't wear those, but now he's come a long way, hasn't he?
I may have to let him borrow some of mine. Because he is looking tight.
Looks pretty good. Speaking of married life, it's working just fine for you, JD.
Well, she hasn't run from the hills yet.
You're a lucky guy, aren't we all?
Oh, very blessed.
Amen to that.
1 ball, 2 strikes. We talked this week. We've talked a lot about baseball and the trades, and when you're part of a family, and everybody in that clubhouse is, and all of us up here are family too, and you live and die with what happens on the field in the games, but the people who really pay the price as you're growing up, our moms and our dads who took us to the games all the time and sat through the rain delays and everything else. But then for what we do today, our wives who have to take care of the kids when we're gone, and then the season's over, we come back and they say, well, don't screw things up. We've been fine without you.
Yeah, you come home and the kid says, who's this guy?
Swing
He's
and
been gone
miss.
for 6 months.
Bird's retired. Marlin reached on a base hit his first time up and scored on the homer by De Jesus. Hey, join us for a very special game this Tuesday night against the Cardinals. We'll highlight the Reds community fund and show you what's happening with the All-Star Legacy projects and let you know how you can help. It's this Tuesday, starting with Reds Live at a special time at 6 o'clock right here on Fox Sports Ohio. That's always been one of our favorite days at the ballpark, our community fund games. Brian Hunterman, when we first started this, our producer tonight, worked so diligently to showcase all the efforts of Charlie Frank's crew. There's a bouncer down to short. Young has it, and Pena's retired, 2 away. So join us on Tuesday.
That was one of the things that I was truly impressed with coming back to the Reds, is the job that Charlie does and the outreach that they have provided in the community. And it's not just a one-time deal. There are some organizations, okay, well, they'll do a couple of things and then that's it. This is nonstop. I would say that we talked about the All-Star game last night, but I would say that the Urban Youth Academy that the Reds have set up, I think Major League Baseball was blown away. Not just the fact of how the Reds are running it, the participation, but the complex in itself.
Ivan De Jesus, who homered his first time up, goes 0-2 and then bounces out to the third baseman. More on that coming up. 3-1 Reds. Joey Votto and the Reds, and they take on McCutcheon and the Buccos this Sunday. Plus, stick around after the game and enjoy a post-game faith concert featuring Grammy Award-winning band Third Day, presented by Prasco. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Reds. A run, 2 hits for the Buccos. Pirates scored their run in the first inning. A double by the shortstop Gung plated the run. The Reds came back with a 2-run homer from De Jesus and a ground out by Bourgeois that plated the third. Here's Gung, the shortstop. His double one hop over the wall in center field knocked in Polanco. We got a taste of exactly what Nick Leyva, the first base coach and infield coach on this club, has said about this young man on the play that he made at third. Good instincts, for a guy that's just playing American baseball for the first time. You wonder what kind of instincts he has. He led the Korean baseball organization and all the power numbers in Seoul. And you wondered, yeah, he's got pretty good offensive capabilities, but does he understand the game? And Nick Leyva says that's the most surprising thing. He gets it. He understands the way the game is played. He understands how to think the game. And with Jordy Mercer on the disabled list with a knee injury, he's filled in at short, also played second, third, and a pretty solid offensive player.
I would say there is no doubt he understands how to hit that baseball.
Yeah. 3-2. Towards the alley. Can anybody cut it off? It's going to be 2 hops to the wall. Gung around first, going to second. It'll cruise in with a 2-base hit. So 2 doubles for the Buccos shortstop and the leadoff hitter in scoring position here in the fourth.
Brian Pena wanted that ball inside. You could see the 2-seam spin coming off, and the ball ends up out away from Gung, and he just puts the barrel to it.
Here's Walker. Bounced to short to end the first. 0 for 1. Neal, much like former Cincinnati Red and Pittsburgh Pirate Sean Casey, a local product in the Pittsburgh area. Been idolized and adored by fans. There's a fly ball down the left field line. Bourgeois there. Gung tagging at second, but he's going nowhere. Hey, now it's time for you to tweet your strongest fan photo. Use hashtag #OhioDataStrongFan, and you can possibly see yourself in an upcoming broadcast. Brought to you by T-Mobile. One on, one away. Here's Pedro Alvarez, a fly ball to center first time up. Fly ball left field towards the corner. That'll reach the seats, be out of play. Towards the hole. That's going to get by Phillips. Here comes Bird charging. Here comes Gung to the plate. Throw won't be in time, and it's a run scoring base hit from Alvarez.
It looked like a breaking ball that stayed just a bit up. Almost seemed as though Alvarez was fooled on the pitch. He got out in front, but he was still able to get enough of the barrel to the ball, pull it right between Phillips and Votto.
Run batted in number 51 for Alvarez, and it's a one-run ball game with Cervelli to the plate. Hard to tell, but looking at that replay earlier in the year, Lorenzen was spiking that curveball. Didn't look like he's spiking it any longer, or at least not on that pitch. High in the air to right. Bird there, and there's 2 away.
Yeah, that may have been a slider that he just got around a little bit. A lot of times you get around the slider instead of getting through it with your fingers. It has a tendency to roll, and that's what that pitch did there.
You made your bread and butter with a split finger and your fastball. How did you deal with the slider curveball evolution for you when you came up with Roger Craig?
You know, the thing I did, George, is I made it into one pitch. Trying to throw the curveball and the slider was too difficult to make them both good. And you're coming out of the bullpen, you've got to have a pitch that you can count on. You don't have time to work into it as you do with a starter. I can remember when I came here, leaving San Francisco, best breaking ball I had in my life was when I put on the Cincinnati Reds uniform. Grant Jackson and Don Gullett. They just helped me combine them. Shortened up the breaking ball. I was able to throw it on both sides of the plate, but it still had depth and bite, and I had confidence in it.
You don't throw a pitch with conviction, you're doomed, huh?
You got that right. Because the hitters will know right away. Because you'll slow down your arm and they'll see it and hit it in the seats.
It's like a blinking light going on.
Oh, man. Hit me. Thing rolls up there like a cement mixer.
0-2 to Locke. That misses. Dave Righetti, the pitching coach for the Giants, where Mike Leake went. Jeff Torborg tried to teach him a changeup his first year in the major leagues in the bullpen in New York. Never felt comfortable with it. 14 years later, he told Torborg, I wish I had listened to you 14 years ago. Never had confidence in it. Strikeout number 4 for Lorenzen, 3-2 Reds.
I'm Jim Day. Michael Lorenzen will lead off this half inning for Cincinnati. Now, we've told you how strong this youngster is in his faith, and he has taken 2 homeless gentlemen under his wings. Now, he tweeted out a picture recently. On the top are the 2 gentlemen, and then a before and after picture in which Michael Lorenzen took them each to get haircuts. And you can see the good look afterwards. The story goes way deeper than that. Said he was out on a Friday night, ran into these 2 guys, and learned of their story, and learned that both gentlemen had simply fallen on hard times, just got into an unfortunate situation in which they became homeless. The story goes further, in which Michael Lorenzen has helped these gentlemen find work, some landscape work, and then helped them find a place to live. Michael said he knew that he was doing the right thing, or further knew he was doing the right thing, when both gentlemen said, we are not looking for a handout. We would like to set up a payment plan for you. So they set up a payment plan, albeit slowly but surely, to pay him back. As Lorenzen sends one into center field. Nice catch by McCutchen. But Michael says in the future he'd like to perhaps turn this into a ministry in which he will help similar people that have just simply fallen on hard times and would like to help them out. This kid has a terrific head on his shoulders at a very young age.
Well put, JD. Outstanding talent as an athlete, but an outstanding young man that he really will fit into the Reds family so comfortably in years to come, Cowboy.
Yeah, not only does he have a great head on his shoulders, he's got a big heart in his chest. It shows up on the mound and it shows off the field as well.
There's Billy Hamilton, first and third in tight, 2 steps onto the grass, swing and a miss for strike 1. Joking with Billy before the game today. Of course, he had become good friends with Carlos Gomez of the Milwaukee Brewers, as the Reds have played the Brewers so often. Gomez traded to Houston, so he leaves the National League, and Billy munching on his gum. Of course, you know the story about Gomez leaving a whole box of gum out in the outfield for him. He said, where am I going to get my gum now? Unfortunately, he left me enough for the next 2 years, but they've already texted each other. They'll need a new piece after that. Swing and a miss. Hamilton retired. 2 away. Four strikeouts for Locke. 2 away. Back to the top of the order, Brandon Phillips. Coming up, if you missed it, we'll recap with JD some of the final day deals that we've talked about earlier today. The Reds, if you joined us late, other than the deal made around midnight last night to send Mike Leake to San Francisco, did not culminate any further deals before the 4 o'clock trading deadline today. That does not mean that they might not come up with another deal in the waiver period trading month of August, to have someone be on a roster to be eligible for the postseason. No balls, 1 strike. Popped up right side. Alvarez, will he have room? He will. The Reds go 1-2-3 in the 4th. Going to inning number 5. 3-2 Reds. By your local Ford dealer. Ford, go further. By Meyer, find more for a healthier you at Meyer. And by Cincinnati Children's, ranking 3rd in the country on United States News and World Report's Best Children's Hospital. Pleasant night at the new ballpark by the river, Great American Ballpark. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Reds. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Buccos. Great crowd on hand last night. Some 35,000 in the ballpark. Another outstanding crowd here tonight. Back to the top of the order, Polanco. He reached in the first. Showing bunt here after getting the bunt hit last night. And he struck out in the second. A year ago, he was the talk of baseball after coming up from AAA. Hit an 11 straight, had his average over 300, and I thought this kid might be Rookie of the Year. Then he hit a drought, wound up back at AAA, and by the time he came back later in the year, he was 1 for 30 at one point before they sent him down. And just like you talk about maturing as a pitcher, sometimes when they find your weak spot as a hitter, you're in the middle of it. Don't see the forest from the trees. You just got to get out.
And I think every player goes through that. You focus on your strengths as you're coming up because that's what gets you here. But they will find a weakness, whether you're a pitcher or a hitter. And then it's up to you to understand what your strengths and weaknesses are. You accelerate the strengths, you guard against the weaknesses. But if you don't know what your weaknesses are, you got a problem.
And you got to be honest with yourself what those weaknesses are. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fouled off. And a likable young man who didn't quibble when they sent him down and worked just as hard as he could. Dean Trainer, the manager over at Indianapolis, took him back under his wing, and little by little, Jeff Branson, of course, worked with him in the minor leagues, and now the hitting coach here, very patient with him, and they believe he's going to be a star. Swing and a miss. He's retired. Lorenzen beats him with that pitch.
Pretty good comeback for Lorenzen after being behind in the count 3-0. Come back with a strikeout.
Hey, tonight, Reds fans from Shelley Materials rode the Fan Express to Great American Ballpark to root for the Reds. Thanks to everyone who were part of the Fan Express program this season. Jesse, on the nights that we don't have people on the Fan Express, they just take you to the park, don't they? You deserve to come to the park in style. Jesse Jackson. Great to have you with us. Jesse up in the booth with us. Joel Luckham manning the statistical side of our broadcast. Strick, great to see you. Be back. Fouled off for a strike to Marte, and our producer Brian Hunterman, our director Roy Alfers, Jim Mueller, our associate producer, dialing up some graphics for us tonight. And Bobby Pennell, our coordinating producer, Kent Dreamweaver, as usual, along with Ron Millenor, doing our pregame and postgame festivities for us. But that was a great package that Matt Sigafus put together last night as highlights of the 15 runs that the Reds scored. Not often you put 15 on the board. A season high of 19 hits.
And putting them all together.
And the dirt swing and a miss. Marte retired. 6 strikeouts for Lorenzen. Here's McCutchen. You talked about it with Jay Bruce about slowing things up, and if you see a difference in Michael Lorenzen from his first start to now, he slowed his delivery, much more deliberate, and seems in more balance.
I think it all goes along the lines of confidence.
Right field hit pretty good. Looking up, Bird. That's gone. McCutchen home run number 15, and we've got a brand new ball game tied at 3.
There are some hitters that the safety zone is down and away from those hitters. And then there are others that like to get extended, as McCutchen does here.
Three runs, 5 hits for the Buccos. We're tied at 3, and here's Ramirez, who flied out and bounced out. Former MVP heating up right about at the threshold of 300 again.
More times than not with McCutchen against the Reds, his home runs have come opposite field on the fastball, breaking balls. Those are the balls he pulls. Rarely have I seen him pull a fastball out of the ballpark.
Fouled off 1 and 2. Slap foul down the right field line and out of play. By the way, we'd like to wish a happy birthday to Luella McIntosh of Deer Park, celebrating her 93rd birthday today. Luella, thanks for joining us and being a loyal Reds supporter, and happy 93rd. That's a big number, Cowboy.
Got that right.
This one looped to the right side. Phillips is there. And a happy birthday to Tip Jockers, 89 today. Leading hitter on the UC baseball team from 49 and a teammate of Don Zimmer's. Happy birthday, Tipper.
We'll probably just put him at Louisville and put him in left field and try to develop him out there, and because I think he could be a he's a good bat, and I think if we can get him to play, and he has played some left field, so it's just a matter of getting him out there and feeling comfortable and working with him on his defense. Maya, the young pitcher we got from San Francisco, is in high A, but he's a kid that they think will move pretty fast.
Reds general manager Walt Jocketty after the trade today of Mike Leake to the Giants. Duvall, of course, Adams 26, selected by the Giants back in 2010. Here's Bourgeois to lead it off as we go to the bottom of the 5th. This year at AAA, big numbers, and of course the bottom line is for him, he's big time power. 25 doubles, 26 homers, 80 runs knocked in. That's fouled off. And a local product, Cowboy. He grew up in Louisville, attended Butler High School, and played at Western Kentucky. Then, of course, wound up at the University of Louisville. Played mostly first base, but they figure he can fit in either at first or the outfield. And Maya
played some first, played some third. But I mean, he's got big time power. I've not seen Maya throw in person. I've seen a little bit of video of him, and hate to throw this tag on him real early, but he reminds you of how Cueto used to throw when he first came up. That ball really sailing to the arm side a lot. He's got tremendous movement.
Base hit for Bourgeois. He's on as the leadoff hitter in the 5th. Another look. Changeup.
Well, you have to know you're going to get one sooner or later with Locke on the mound. Pretty much every batter that comes to the plate is going to see a changeup. And if he leaves it out over the plate, you got a chance to put the barrel to it. Bourgeois does it.
So here's Joey, who walked twice with a runner down at first. JD, anything to add on Maya?
Well, one thing, the pronunciation of his first name, some people have been questioning that. It is Keuri Maya. Keuri Maya. And some scouts have him earmarked as being a back end of the bullpen guy. But Walt Jocketty says for now they see him as a starter on down the road. You could see him perhaps in the bullpen if it doesn't work out as the starter. And he will start out at high A in Daytona. But as Walt Jocketty said in that soundbite, they look for him to race through the system because many scouting organizations have them or had him as the #1 prospect in the Giants system.
Bourgeois, short lead off first. That's in there for a strike.
I think the reason that a lot of folks are talking about him possibly going into the bullpen is because he does have a funky delivery, pitches across his body. He has tremendous movement, but as he's gotten older, I mean, let's not forget this guy's only 21 years old. It takes a little time to get comfortable with yourself, even in professional baseball. But he's starting to throw a lot more strikes and get a lot more consistent outs. He's moved up the prospect ladder in a hurry.
As for Duvall, Cowboy, we met him last year when the Reds were in San Francisco. That was a series where the Reds swept the Giants in 4 games. He got his first major league hit. It was a home run off
Mike Leake.
Off Mike Leake, ironically, the man who he's traded for. 1 ball, 2 strikes. To Joey. That misses inside. And the one thing you remember was when we talked to the Giants, that's when Belk was hurt and they were looking for somebody to fill in at first base, so they brought him up. Joe LaFay, the assistant hitting coach, Hensley Mullins, and Ronnie Wotus, the bench coach, all were impressed with his work ethic, impressed with his bat speed, said this kid's going to help us someday. Let's hope he helps the Reds someday.
You had 26 home runs in Little League. That's doing something. He's doing it in AAA.
This is wide, so we'll go full 3-2 to Votto. Locke peers in for his sign from Cervelli. 3-2. We'll see if Bourgeois will be going. He's not. This one hit pretty good to right. Going back in the corner. Look at his Polanco, and he got it. And guess what? Bourgeois never turned around and looked, and he's going to be doubled up at first base. He never looked at Jim Riggleman at third. He thought assuredly that the ball was either gone or off the wall, but it just curved to the warning track, and Polanco went a long way to haul it in to rob Votto of extra bases and turn it into a double play.
This ball is absolutely scalded. I think Joey thought that he had it when it came off the bat, but it had top spin on it, Joey. We've already seen Polanco run the bases. He can fly, and he got to that ball relatively in a hurry.
Jim Riggleman was waving at Bourgeois, and by the time he did look at him, he was almost to third base. He was waving at him way back at second base. He had a chance to get back.
He was rounding third. Man. By that point, Jim just said, okay.
That's when you feel helpless as the third base coach.
You're going to be doubled up.
A base running mistake, aggressive effort by Bourgeois, but a base running mistake clearly, and cost the Reds a base runner. Now there's 2 away after 2 hard hit balls. Rich Donnelly, the former third base coach for a number of teams, most notably the Pirates for Jim Leland. He always said the only time they know about us as the third base coach is when the plane goes down and you're hopeless.
Or when you make a mistake.
Yeah. Not his mistake.
Nope.
Here's Frazier. Swing and a miss in the dirt. He will be thrown out at first. So the Reds hit 2 balls hard, nothing to show for it, thanks to great defense by Polanco. Tied at 3. In the first inning, a double, a 1-hop off the wall by the Pirate shortstop, Jung Ho Gung. 1-0 Buccos took the lead. The Reds bounced back in the second inning. A big swing by Ivan de Jesus after a base hit by Berg gave the Reds a 2-1 lead. A ground out by Bourgeois made it 3-1 as a run scored. Then McCutchen drilled a 2-out homer in the 5th inning, his 15th of the year, to tie the game at 3, and that's where we are. 3 runs, 5 hits for the Pirates, 3 runs, 5 hits for the Reds. Each team has left 4 on base. And here is the Buccos shortstop, Gung, who has back-to-back doubles. That one that bounced off the warning track into the grass area in the first, and then a double to right field in the 4th. Overall 298 now with 7 homers, 34 knocked in. Saturday, game 3 of the series, it'll be Raisel Iglesias going against Garrett Cole as the Reds continue to showcase their starting staff of the future. Iglesias will try to win his second. He's 1-3 with an ERA of about 5.5. Cole has been lights out. 14-4, an ERA of 2.24. He's something special, Cowboy.
Yes, he is.
2-2. Right field towards the corner. Bird looking up. It will be off the top of the wall, and Gunn will have his 3rd double of the ball game. Man,
all 3 doubles have been fastballs out over the plate, trying to go away. He is connected with some serious bolt power here tonight. Lorenzen has to feel pretty fortunate that ball didn't get out of the ballpark. And again, we talked about this earlier. You see where Brian Pena is setting up. He's setting up inside, and that ball is on the outside corner and up. You can't miss that far.
So leadoff hitter in scoring position, and here comes Walker. Grounded out, flied out, 0 for 2. Fly ball left field. Bourgeois under it. Gunn tagging, and he'll hold there. Just to remind you, as you enjoy a cold one, look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. We enjoy the Miller Lite promo every night. We got to get an ice cream promo for you about this time of the ball game. I could see the look on your face. You have ice cream withdrawal.
I do. I could use about 8 scoops of homemade right now.
This is Alvarez. He singled to right to knock in the 2nd run.
You want to see me eat those 8 scoops, don't you?
I do. And what's up for the weekend?
Going to Meyer tomorrow in Loveland.
Now,
it's free ice cream. It's 12-2.
Enough said. 12-2.
Yeah, they'll have the big ice cream truck there.
If Joey Chestnut could do it with hot dogs, you could do it with ice cream.
I don't know if I can compete with him now.
Orioles cookies and cream, right?
Mint Oreo cookies and cream.
Gotcha.
That's what I like.
Fouled off, 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I like it all, but that's my favorite.
You mix and match?
I do.
Little chocolate.
But I always put the mint on the top so it drizzles down over the rest of the scoops. It's just my thing.
Lorenzen to the stretch. 1-2 to Alvarez. Is there room to squeeze this one? Bourgeois and Frazier give chase, but it'll be 2 rows in. Now, do you like the sprinkles and the sauce on top? No. Don't mess with the good thing.
Just like the ice cream. Now, granted, different ice cream has different flavors, like pralines and cream or butter pecan or something like that, or the Oreo cookies and the cookies and cream.
Pena out to talk to Lorenzen to try to find a way to get by this tricky left-handed bat. We talk ice cream, and I feel bad because out in our center field camera, J.K. Smith is sitting down there. He's probably having ice cream withdrawal now. Other than you, nobody loves ice cream or desserts more than J.K.
I'm not normally a big dessert guy, but I like ice cream.
1-2 in the dirt. Good block by Pena.
Just one of those things from the South that I can remember even back when I was 7, 8 years old. Granddaddy's out there with the churn making the homemade ice cream. That's what UDF is to me.
I remember covering the Senior Bowl and going to Mobile, and what I loved with the praline ice cream down there. Was praline big for you when you were a kid?
Prime time. Still is. I mean, I'm only about 2.5 hours north of New Orleans, so that ought to tell you something. the brawling capital of the world.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Dribble toward short. The runner will go to third, and they'll get the out at first.
And that was a great pitch by Lorenzen. Power sinker right at the hollow of the kneecaps, right on the outside corner. There's nothing else that you can do with that pitch except what Alvarez does there. Watch this ball take off. It explodes down and away, and by the time he makes contact, the ball is running off the plate and he hits it right off the end of the bat.
So 2 away with Cervelli coming to the plate. Lorenzen trying to strand the go-ahead run.
When we talk about weak contact, that's what we're talking about.
Cervelli popped up, flied out. With the pitcher due up next, they'll walk him intentionally and deal with Locke, who walks and struck out.
Looks like Ishikawa has moved out into the on-deck circle.
See if he will hit here in the 6th. Travis Ishikawa, former San Francisco Giant, back with the Buccos, backup first baseman and pitch hitter. So Locke hoping that Ishikawa can deliver and give him a lead as he'll exit the game. Five innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 3 walks, and 5 strikeouts for Locke. Here comes Jeff Pico to give Lorenzen the scouting report and a little checkup from the neck up as he's ready to deliver to Ishikawa. Ishikawa pinch hit yesterday and popped to the shortstop. And Travis was another one of those guys, speaking of the Giants and Duvall at first base. He came through the Giants organization and they looked at him as possibly the shortstop, the first baseman of the future there.
It seemed like Ishikawa blew right through the minor league system for the Giants.
Up first and third, 2 away. Ishikawa against Lorenzen.
But I would imagine, George, if you're a young hitter playing at AT&T Park in San Francisco, that is a pitcher's ballpark, and it's very difficult to drive the ball in that park. You don't get rewarded a lot of times for balls that are well hit in the air, and that can be a little detrimental to the mind of a young hitter.
The last 3 innings, the pitch count has risen for Lorenzen, now at 100 on the night. So you figure this may be his last inning either way.
Couple of good pitches right in on the hands of Ishikawa. Now it's put away pitch time. You have the advantage on the mound. Now you just have to execute.
That slapped the other way and out of play.
See Brian Pena telling Lorenzen, get that out there a little more. That ball is right down the middle of the plate.
Fastball away. Lorenzen threads the needle 3 times. Count stays at 1 and 2. You switch him up here.
You got him swinging at the fastball. You can either elevate that fastball or bury a breaking ball in.
Wanted it way in. It rode a little high, and we're even at 2 and 2.
Good at bat so far by Ishikawa.
Runner goes to second, so it'll be second and third. No force possibility at second now. It's a wild pitch that allows Cervelli to go to second. So we'll go full 3-2. The 2-2 changeup call by Pena, and a good spot in the dirt. If you're going to miss down there, right?
Exactly.
So 3-2. From the stretch, Lorenzen. And there's ball 4. So second walk in the inning, 1 intentional. The bases are now loaded, and that will be it for Michael Lorenzen, with Polanco coming up. So while the pitching change takes place, it's time for our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. You're watching Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio. Over 400 mobile and connected devices with MLB.TV Premium. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, widget, and more. Every night on every device. Blackout and other restrictions do apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Well, it's a big jam for the Reds, and a big guy's coming in as Michael Lorenzen's night is over. 6 hits, 3 runs, all of them earned. 3 walks and 6 strikeouts. Some positive parts of his story tonight, but he exits with 3 on, all his responsibility, hoping that Jumbo can get out of the jumbo hole.
Well, Diaz has thrown the ball very well since coming back up from AAA. 6 innings, and only allowed 1 earned run. He has not walked a batter, and he has struck out 8 during that time. This is probably the most difficult spot he's been put in, but he's got to get 1 batter, and that batter is Gregory Polanco.
Polanco tonight reached on an infield hit, struck out in the 2nd, and struck out in the 5th. Also a stolen base on the evening for the Pirates right fielder. Gunn at 3rd, Cervelli at 2nd, and Ishikawa at 1st. From the stretch is Diaz. Missing wide, ball 1. Nowhere to put this left-handed swinger. That's in there. Johnny Cueto, the best advice Diaz says he ever gave him was, don't forget about your breaking ball. Don't quit on your breaking ball, even if you throw 96, 97. You got to keep people honest.
You do. I mean, you can throw it up there 102 miles an hour every time. But if that's all you throw, they're going to hit it sooner or later.
How do you whoop? They got him at the plate. If he picks it, not in time. If Pena had picked it cleanly the first time, they had the runner at the plate. He missed it the first time, and after the wild pitch, Gung does score as he got in just ahead of the tag from Diaz.
Yeah, I thought once the ball popped up into the air, they were going to have a chance to get Gung. But you see, Pena looked up just momentarily, and when he did, that cost him.
So now second and third, no force. And that misses outside. 3-1. And more trouble up the pike with Marte than McCutchen do up. We'll go full 3-2. Two strikeouts of Polanco by Lorenzen, a fastball up and a changeup down. Where do you go after him, Cowboy?
Got to go back out there away with 3-2.
.99 from Diaz.
Get in this kind of spot, you run the count to 3-2. You got to come with your best pitch because you have to throw a strike.
Setting up inside, and that misses inside.
Oh, that's a pretty good pitch.
Man, 3 walks in a wild pitch, and the bases are loaded again.
Thought he might have gotten that call, but stayed just in off the plate.
So here's Marte. He was hit by a pitch, struck out and struck out.
I don't think Polanco could have pulled the trigger even if that ball had been middle in.
Hit hard and through. That's going to score at least one. Ishikawa around third. Throw to the plate's going to be perfect, and Pena holds on. He is out, but a second run scores, and the Pirates take a 2-run lead. Perfect throw from Bourgeois. The Reds will have to play comeback. They trail this one by 2.
Rockies here on Fox Sports Ohio. I'm Jim Day. Today's trade deadline, 4 o'clock Eastern, and some key National League Central acquisitions. Former Red Jonathan Broxton goes from the Brewers to the Cardinals. They also got Brandon Moss after Holiday injured himself the other night. They made an early week move with Steve Cishek, the right-handed sidewinder. The Cubs got Dan Herron from Miami today. He'll help that starting rotation, and right-handed pitcher Tommy Hunter. As we told you, Joakim Soria will be now in the bullpen for the Pirates. They also got J.A. Happ and Michael Morris as a bat off the bench, or perhaps a platoon situation in the infield or the outfield. Reds and Brewers, both sellers, looking towards 2016 and beyond.
Thanks, JD. Here's the big right-hander, 48, Jared Hughes. Hughes will take over for Locke. Locke, 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs, 5 strikeouts, and 3 walks. Unhappy about leaving the game, but happy now that he got those 2 runs and he stands to get a W. We'll see if the Reds can come back. Here's Bird, singled and struck out. Center field hit pretty good. Looking up, going back, gone. The Birdman delivers his second hit of the ball game, and he greets Hughes with a big thunderous shot to center field. It's now a 1-run game. Number 18 for Marlon Byrd. He's on track for a 20 home run season.
That is only the second home run that Jared Hughes has given up in 43 1/3 innings. That does not normally happen, but he left that sinker up and out over the plate.
Now the Reds are within 1. Still nobody out. Here's Pena, who struck out and bounced out. That sounded good, looked good, and McCutchen took 1 step back and just watched it go. Line drive towards the alley. McCutchen tracing it. It'll be 1 hop off the top of the wall, and Pena will have a 2-base hit. So back-to-back bullets, a homer and a double. The Reds have the tying run in scoring position.
Another pitch up and out over the plate.
So here comes Ivan De Jesus. He's already homered. That gave the Reds a 2-1 lead in the second. Bounced out his second time up, and with Diaz due up next, Skip Schumacher has moved out of the dugout into the on-deck circle. Well, the Reds put a number on the Pirates bullpen, the second best bullpen in the league last night. They're trying to do the same here tonight. And speaking of that bullpen, Cowboy, and not only the Buccos, they got J.A. Happ, but also the Cardinals getting Broxton today, Cishek this week. Those are pretty good additions, that Cardinal pen.
A couple of veteran right arms.
That's a strike, 1-1. We talked over the winter and even at the end of last year that Michael Morse might be a good fit for the Reds last year when they were looking for power in left field. The Reds did sign Marlon Byrd, who's on the threshold of 20 homers. Morse could give you a jolt off the bench. Dribbled out in front of the plate, down the line, hustling, and they get him. In fact, I don't think it was on the bag. I think it was the tag that got him. Take another look.
Ball looked like it sailed into the runner. That is an awfully dangerous play for a first baseman. Catch and the tag all at the same time. Looked like he had his foot on the bag too.
Yeah,
that really bent the left wrist of Pedro Alvarez back.
We've seen some ugly collisions, and he's still shaking that left wrist.
Cliff Floyd
and Randy Hundley. Ooh. That was that'll live in infamy. What a horrible night that was for Cliff Floyd and Hundley. And on the play, Pena did not go to third, so he's still at second base. 1 out now. He pinch hits for Diaz. Schumacher leads the league in pinch hits, leads all of Major League Baseball in pinch hits, and he's been outstanding off the bench for the Reds. With Pena at second now instead of third. I mean, that changed the dynamics of this at bat big time. Had he been at third, they would have brought the infield in. And now, with his lack of speed, it'll take a pretty good base hit to score him. One ball, two strikes. Popped up in the infield. Gung calling. Got it, and there's your second out. And that'll bring up Hamilton. Billy tonight walked in the second and then struck out in the fourth. See how the Pirates play it with the runner at second. And at the edge of the grass, Ramirez, and at the edge of the grass at first, Alvarez.
The Pirates definitely not playing in as we normally would see with Hamilton at the plate.
The old keep the line moving, a bunt hit here. He's got a base hit. Get Phillips to the plate. Ground ball down to second. Walker has it. That'll do it. Well, Marlon Byrd gets the Reds within one. He rips his 18th homer of the year. It's a 5-4 game heading to the seventh. Advantage of exclusive ticket offers and enjoy face painting, live mascot races, games, and a whole lot more. Plus, kids 14 and younger will receive a Billy Hamilton poster thanks to Biz and Oxidol. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/family. The Buccos 5 runs, 7 hits, 6 left on. The Reds 4-7-0 with 5 left on base. If you joined us late, Michael Lorenzen 5 2/3 allowed 6 hits and all told 5 runs, struck out 6 and walked 3. Jumbo Diaz came in and a wild pitch allowed 1 run to score. A base hit allowed another to score. to make it a 5-3 lead. And here's J.J. Hoover. He'll take over as we go to the top of inning number 7. Been a bounce back year for this Reds reliever. Here's McCutchen, struck out, flied out, and then drilled his 15th homer of the year in the 5th inning. You mentioned the confidence for Lorenzen as he matures. Confidence really the key in this bounce back year for Hoover.
I don't think there's any doubt about it. And you start out the season, especially after the very difficult year that J.J. had last year. You want to prove yourself. You know that you're better than what you showed. But in the back of your mind, the last thing that you want is to start out like you finished. And he started out awfully well. The Reds, Brian Price, were selective in how they used him. Just incrementally building back that confidence and helping him string together quality innings. And now he's become an integral part of this Reds bullpen. I mean, he's been the 7th and 8th inning guy to bridge the gap to Chapman.
2 balls, 2 strikes to McCutchen. Out number 1, strikeout number 1 for Hoover.
And now it's time for our flamethrower, brought to you by Cholula Hot Sauce. That fastball down and away, right by the former MVP Andrew McCutchen at 94 miles a smoking hour.
And backs that up with a little wrinkle of a breaking ball to jump ahead of Ramirez.
Well, he pitched McCutchen backwards, and that was the issue that J.J. struggled with a lot last year, getting that breaking ball over for a strike. Now he does it almost the same pitch selection here to Ramirez. Curveball, slider, gets ahead 0-2. Now that fastball is not going to look 94, it's going to look 104.
Down to third. On one knee, Frazier scoops. Over to Votto, 2 away. Well, the home run by McCutchen is the biggest swing of the night, but the biggest bat of the night belongs to the shortstop for the Pirates, Jung Hung Gung. He doubled in a run in the first, doubled to start a rally in the 4th, and later scored, and started the rally in the 6th with a leadoff double. 3 doubles on the night.
All fastballs away from him, and he has tattooed them here tonight.
That's a good way to start with a breaking ball.
Very few hitters want to hit a breaking ball on the first pitch, but you have to have command of it, get it to have some semblance of tilt, and get it over the plate.
An all-star in Korea. This young man has helped keep the Buccos in the pennant race in his first year in Pittsburgh. Fly ball to right. Bird circling, looking up, and he'll squeeze it. 1, 2, 3. Good inning for Hoover. Top of the order. Brandon due up, and we return.
Extended Reds highlights, interviews from the clubhouse, and more. It's a Reds Live postgame. It's brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. More trade deadline news. Aroldis Chapman's name was out there frequently amongst the rumor mill. And I was at his locker with Brian Pena at the very moment the 4 o'clock deadline hit. And Brian Pena had told me previously that Aroldis was very, very nervous because he himself, like Jay Bruce, did not want to be traded. And I said to Brian, I said, would you translate, please ask him if he's glad he was staying. He translated it, and Aroldis said, "Sí." And I said, ask him if he was really, really nervous about it. And Aroldis understood what I was saying. Didn't even wait for the translation. Had the biggest smile I've ever seen on his face. And he said in English, "Yes, yes, I was," and shook his head. He was nervous, but in the end, still a Red. Didn't want to be traded. He's a happy man.
You're right, JD, and I walked out on the field. Jay Bruce went through the same scenario. I walked up to him, and he looked at me. He said, "I'm not in the lineup, but I'm still in the ballpark, and I'm happy to still be in the ballpark." Emotional day. Here's Brandon Phillips to lead it off in the 7th against this veteran right-hander who's been around. The Pirates just acquired him last night. Joaquin Soria. How do the Reds fare against him, Cowboy?
Well, Phillips is 2 for 2 lifetime against Soria. Haven't faced him a whole lot. Frazier 1 for 1, and that one hit was a grand slam home run. This guy's used to pitching in pressure situations. He's got 23 saves on the year for the Detroit Tigers. That one caught the home plate umpire.
Man. And we've talked about this over the years. And we talk about the concussion syndrome. There's no umpire in all of baseball that's had more difficulties with pitches and foul tips than Kerwin.
Looked like that one caught him off the left shoulder, but it was heading right for the mask. He just did get out of the way. So did Phillips.
He's been hit by foul tips. He's been in collisions. He's been hit in the jaw by a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. He spent time on the disabled list, but he's back there umpiring. Brandon hits a 2-hopper to the right side. Walker has it, and there's one away. Phillips tonight, after his 7 RBI night last night, 1 for 4. A base hit to left in the 2nd inning that helped continue the Reds' productive inning. So 1 away, and here's Bourgeois. He bounced out, bounced to short with the bases loaded that forced in a run. Stole a base and then singled to left. Another 35,000 crowd, 35,088 after 35,715 yesterday, hoping that the Reds can play comeback baseball. I mean, who would have thought when this year started that the Tigers would be in a selling mode come the month of July and the trading deadline? Soria traded from Detroit. David Price, traded.
It's amazing how much one player means to a franchise. As soon as Miguel Cabrera went on the disabled list, the Tigers began to move south in the standings and have never recovered.
I guess he's like a player and a half, not just a player. With his numbers, amazing.
Yes.
We talk about Joey Votto and what he's going through now. Everybody, every pitching coach you talk to, every manager you talk to, it's like the elephant in the room. Miguel Cabrera in the lineup. Always looming, just like Votto is. He's got the complete package. Swing and a miss on the breaking ball. That's 2 away. Strikeout number 1 for Soria.
Pretty good curveball here from Soria. Ball looks like it starts right at the catcher's mask, and you can see how much depth that pitch has.
He's been a setup man. He's been a closer earlier in his career. He's a starter. He was 3-1 with 23 saves and 26 chances and an ERA of under 3. for the Tigers. And he's been on a roll of late. Scored on only once in his last 14 games, and earlier this year picked up save number 200 for his career. So he's bona fide. And you put him with Mark Melanson at the end of any game, that's a pretty good combo.
Well, I would imagine that we will see more times than not what we're seeing tonight from Clint Hurdle and the Pirates. Jared Hughes, Joaquin Soria, Tony Watson, and into the closer Melanson.
Watson's the lefty. Those are the three down the stretch of a big ball game that you'd expect to see. Here's Joey, walked twice and then hit what looked like, when it left the bat, a 2-run home run. It just kept sinking towards the right field corner with Bourgeois on first and running. Polanco pulled it in from the top of the wall and right and turned it into a double play as they doubled up Bourgeois. So instead of 2 on the board, it was a double dip, and the Reds' inning was snuffed out. And they're trying to tie it with one swing there. Two balls, 2 strikes. The other option that Clint Hurdle and Ray Searage have now, it kind of reminds you when Jason Grilli was the closer here in Pittsburgh. Mark Melanson was the setup guy. If you got to use the closer 2 or 3 days in a row, you got Melanson to step in. Now, on the day after using, he didn't have to be afraid to use Melanson 2 days in a row, because he can come back with this guy on the 3rd day.
Gives you a little bit of leeway in the manager's seat. That seat tends to get warm as you head towards the end of September.
3-2, and the 3rd walk of the game for Votto. So the tying run down to first, and here's Todd Frazier. As promised earlier in the game, we have selected the Data Strong fan photo of the game. Tweet your strongest fan photo to hashtag Ohio Data Strong Fan for a chance to be featured in an upcoming broadcast brought to you by T-Mobile. Good job, Harry. Our strong fan of the night. Here's Todd Frazier looking for his first base hit of the night. 2 strikeouts and a force play. Sitting on 27 homers, leading the Reds. 67 runs batted in on the season.
Pirates have Ramirez guarding the line over there at 3rd base. They don't want to see anything head to that corner down the left field line.
Down to 3rd, but foul past Riggleman. Not only was that Frazier home run off Soria a grand slam, it was a walk-off grand slam on June the 17th. From the stretch, the big right-hander. Bryce Harper's week has given him the lead in the National League in homers with 29 now. Stanton still on the DL with 27, tied with Frazier. Nolan Arenado next to 25 in the National League. And in runs batted in, Frazier 9 back of Arenado for the league lead. Two. Lively fastball, a changeup that he has confidence in, and a breaking ball that keeps you honest. Nubbed into right. That's going to drop for a hit. Good at bat by Frazier. Well, the Reds have the tying run down at 2nd, and that'll get Bird to the plate, and he's 2 for 3, including a homer.
Tried to come in with a fastball. Got it on the inside corner, but this is a pretty good job of hitting by Frazier. You see him really pull the hands in. He didn't hit it on the perfect spot of the bat, but he placed it rather well on the grass in right field.
You hear hitting coaches say keep your hands inside the ball. Somehow he managed to do that on a pretty good fastball. Here's Marlin. Singled in the second to lead off the inning, scored on the De Jesus homer to give the Reds a 2-1 lead. In the dirt, runners hold. He led off the sixth with a home run, his 18th of the year. That brought the Reds to within 5-4, and that's where we are right now. Here's another look at number 18.
That wasn't that bad of a pitch. That's a pretty good swat at that. Strong man.
74 miles an hour, way out in front. That's an Alfredo Simon special, huh?
Slow curveball. Soria really has 4 pitches that he can access at any time. But you don't expect that slow curveball. He doesn't use it much, but when he does, it's awfully effective.
Oh, Simon would throw maybe 1 or 2 a game. Soria turned 32 back in May. Native of Mexico, now lives in Arizona. Spent the early part of his career in Kansas City. 5 years at the major league level with the Royals.
Saved a lot of games over there. Oof.
Oh boy, he wanted that call, and he locked up Bird. Marlin was fooled; it just didn't get the call.
This was the curveball we saw earlier in the count, but this one just stays a bit high out of the strike zone. That one came out of his hand a tad early.
Full count, 3-2. Pena on deck, 2 on for the Reds. The runner's off and running. That's a foul ball down the third base line.
Yeah, if you can throw that type of breaking ball 3-2 for a strike as he did there, makes the hitter wait just a split second longer, and you have a chance to sneak that fastball on him.
Cervelli catching this veteran right-hander for the first time. Where does he go?
Fastball in.
He's setting up, down and away. Fastball away, fouled off. With the runners off and going, 3-2 and 2 outs. A long single might even tie. It might even give the Reds the lead in this game. Votto should score easily. And Frazier off and running behind him. Soria to the stretch. That's ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Good at bat, 7-pitch at bat for Bird. So a walk, a single, and a walk. And here comes Brian Pena. Lynn Hurdle sends Ray Searage out to check on his veteran right-hander.
This is the first appearance that Soria has made for the Pirates.
Now remember, the Reds and Brian Price did have a decision here because Jay Bruce did not start the game. He's the left-handed bat off the bench. They've got Schumacher they've already used. Kyle Waldrop is up from AAA now, but Brian Price elects to go with Pena, the switch hitter batting from the left side against Soria. A pretty good decision in that Pena, a pretty good contact hitter in these kind of situations. I mean, you may sit there and say, well, you got Bruce, but Pena at putting the bat on the ball against this right-hander might be as good a choice. Pena tonight struck out, bounced out, double to right center. Base is loaded with Reds. That misses up and away, ball one.
George, you look at Brian Pena and the way that he holds the bat. He's got about a ½ inch space between the top and the bottom hand. Gives him a little bit more back control, sacrificing power, but a little bit more back control.
2 balls, no strikes. Votto at third, Frazier at second, and down at first is Bird. Down and in, almost got away from Cervelli. Votto was a third of the way down the line, and it's 3-0. You turn Pena loose 3-0 here?
No chance.
Well, normally the bullpen reliable for Hurdle. Last 2 nights he's been at the top of the dugout steps. That's a strike. Pena tried to buy a walk out of it. It's called strike 1.
Well, you've got a guy in Joaquin Soria. He's pitching for a new ball club. He's gotten himself in trouble. Obviously he's feeling a little bit of pressure to perform. And he's pitching in an inning that he probably hadn't pitched in a while. The 7th, not the 9th.
3-1. Line drive caught. Oh my! That was ticketed for center field. If Soria doesn't get it, 2-run score easily. He hit it right on the button. He didn't catch the ball. The ball caught him, and Soria's out of the jam.
$12 plus the first 25,000 fans in attendance receive a Devin Mesoraco bobblehead. It's presented by St. Elizabeth Healthcare. For tickets, call 513-381-REDS. Visit select Kroger locations or reds.com/tickets. Pirates clinging to that 1-run lead. Johnny Cueto made his first start for the Royals tonight. We'll talk about that start coming up, especially on the postgame show. But for the Reds, they are looking forward, and that would be the 3 left-handers that they got for Johnny Cueto. And one of them, Cody Reed, who made his Double-A Pensacola debut tonight. And it was a good one. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, just 1 run, 2 walks. He struck out 6 batters and threw 95 pitches. And Cowboy, I know you're high on all 3 of these lefties they got, but you were particularly pointing your finger at Cody Reed. Off to a good start with the Blue Wahoos.
Cowboy, you got to be pleased with the numbers for Cody Reed. 7 innings, 5 hits, 1 run in his first start as a Reds. A guy that you've had your eyes on.
Yeah, I saw the kid pitch in high school, and he had a great arm, but a little wild, if you will. And same thing when he went to Northwest Community College up in North Mississippi. He started to get things together a little bit more, but you could still see great arm, great presence, but mechanics all over the place. And he's really refined himself over the last couple of years. And I tell you, George, I think the Reds got a huge bargain with getting him in that deal. He may be the one pitcher in that deal from the Royals with the most upside.
Here's Neil Walker. Walker to lead it off, top of 8. Bounced out, flied out, flied out. Burke Badenhop will be the third pitcher for the Reds. Michael Lorenzen 5 2/3, 6 hits and 5 runs. He struck out 6 and walked 3. Diaz an inning and 1 strikeout, and here's BB. Walker, Alvarez, Cervelli. Popped up left side. De Jesus will take charge. He's got it, and there's one away. If you joined us late in this one, the Pirates took a lead in the first. Young had an RBI double to make it 1-0. Reds in the second got a base hit from Bird, a homer for Ivan De Jesus to make it 2-1, and then an infield ground out off the bat of Jason Bourgeois allowed the third run to score for the Reds. Alvarez at the plate now was Pedro's base hit to right after a double by Gung in the fourth that made it a 3-2 ball game. McCutcheon's home run in the fifth, his 15th of the year, tied it at 3. The Pirates then went ahead in the sixth on a wild pitch and a base hit to lead it 5-3, and then the Reds on the home run by Bird closed to within 1, 5-4, and that's where we are. Your report card on Michael Lorenzen's start tonight, Cowboy. 5 2/3 of 6 hits, 6 strikeout baseball.
Thought he threw the ball fine up until that final inning, and it just looked like some pitch selection issues just steered him the wrong way. And it's part of youthful exuberance, and that's the part that you learn from. The key is you have to learn from your mistakes. When things don't go well, try to figure out exactly why they did. You make those adjustments in your next start.
1-2 with the overshift to the right side. Phillips is in the right place, and that turns it into a 4-3 putout.
It's almost the same place that we saw Alvarez hit the ball back in the fourth inning when he drove in the run, and this time Phillips playing a little more to the pull side, and good thing, because that baby was smoked.
Jay Bell, the Reds bench coach, so much a believer in the analytics of shifting. Just prior to that, moved everyone about a step or so to the right side, and boy did it pay off. The former Gold Glover deals with that. 2 away, and here's Cervelli. Cervelli popped up, flied out, and then worked a walk in the 6th inning. That prolonged the inning with a runner on and 2 outs. Two wild pitches, 2 walks in the inning proved to be part of the Reds' difficulties. This one popped up right side. Votto, fair territory, got it. Nice inning for Badenhop. 1, 2, 3. Bottom of 8. Reds go to work. Bottom of the order. De Jesus is already homered. Will lead it off. Buccos 5-4 lead as we go to the bottom of the 8th inning here at Great American Ballpark. Time for our Kia in the driver's seat highlight of the night. Young Ho Gong has been the story of this game for the Pirates. 3 for 4, 3 doubles, a run batted in, a couple of runs scored, and a good defensive play to boot. The Korean native outstanding for the Buccos tonight as the Reds try to play comeback baseball against the Buccos bullpen. Locke started 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs. Hughes, Soria, and here's the left-hander Watson to take over. Cowboy gets the first out of the 8th.
Tony Watson has been a huge contributor for this Pirates bullpen for years. I mean, we're talking about upper 70s, low 80s in appearances, ERA a lot of times under the 2 mark, all the time under the 3 mark, it seems like. When you've got a power lefty coming out of your bullpen with his kind of stuff and his results, it makes it tough for the opponents to try to come back with a back end of Watson and a guy like Melanson.
Sean Rodriguez will enter the game. He'll lead off the next inning in a double switch in the 9th spot in the order. And Watson in the game in Alvarez spot. They overshift to the left side. Check that. They just put it up. The pitcher is batting 9th, so Rodriguez will take over at first, and the pitcher hitting in the 9th spot.
This is not a spot that Suarez has been in a whole lot since taking over for Cozart at shortstop.
Eugenio pinch hitting for the Reds pitcher spot here in the number 8 hole. Swing and a miss, and the lefty Watson takes care of the first 2 Reds batters here in the 8th.
Like a changeup, followed by the 2 fastballs he threw earlier in the count. You put a changeup down there, it's tough to decipher, especially with that kind of movement.
Here's Billy. Walked, struck out, bounced out. Showing bunt, fouls it off. Last night the Pirates losing here to the Reds in that 15-5 game. The Cardinals came back to win their game, so they've stretched their lead to 5.5 over the Pirates going into tonight. Pirates had cut the lead under Clint Hurdle from 9 down to 4.5 starting last night. Tonight the Cardinals are leading 2-0 over Colorado at home. And if you missed it, the Cardinals added someone else to their bullpen, former Red Jonathan Broxton over from Milwaukee. That'll make their bullpen that much better.
I wonder with the acquisition of Michael Morse by the Pirates if he'll play any first base. I mean, they've been looking for a right-handed complement over there with Pedro Alvarez. You just wonder if he can handle it.
Swing and a miss. What an inning for Watson. 2 strikeouts, 1, 2, 3. The Reds go quietly in the 8th to the top of the 9th.
transmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
And don't forget, tomorrow Major League Baseball returns with the Freeway Series between the Angels and the Dodgers in a game you can only see on Fox Sports 1. Coverage begins at 3:30 Eastern on Fox Sports 1, streaming live on Fox Sports Go. And of course, we'll be back here tomorrow night with Reds Live at 6:30. The game will follow at 7. Raisel Iglesias against Garrett Cole. That game tomorrow, the Dodgers, of course, with a half-game lead over the Giants going into play today over in the West, and the Angels in the West of the American League 2 games back of Houston to start play. Here's Ryan Matthews, who will take over for the Reds. Lorenzen started, Diaz an inning, Badenhop an inning, and here's Matthews hoping to keep it right where it is.
Coming on for the 32nd time, and you're right, George, in this situation you just want to give the Reds an opportunity to try to come back with 1-run deficit when they come to the plate in the 9th inning.
There's Jeff Decker, who pinch hit last night and eventually wound up pitching in that 15-5 game. He'll pinch hit here in the pitcher's spot in the top of the 9th inning. 1 for 12 for Decker. You were a shortstop and a pitcher, but for a guy who's not normally a pitcher, that was kind of a neat night for him. Not for the scoreboard story, but he had a decent inning. That's a line drive picked off the top of the grass by Frazier. Joe West says you got it before it touched the grass. Here's out number 1.
This had dangerous potential as it came off the bat. It was sinking away from Frazier since it was coming off a left-handed bat, but he was still able to make the play.
1 away, back to the top of the order. Polanco. Single, stole a base in the first, struck out, and then bounced out to second. Rather walked in the 6th inning. So the Reds have been against Polanco all night long, ahead in the count, and they are again 1-2. That's way wide. Now you look at a scoreboard and think that you're in a 1-run ball game, but go back to that first inning, Cowboy, and Polanco leads off. He dribbles one in front of the plate. Lorenzen picks it up and hit him in the back as he went down to first. He was credited with a base hit. Hopped up, and it'll be out of play. But it looked like a good throw would have had him at first to start with. Then, in addition to that, alertly the Reds pitch out as he tries to steal. But Peña's throw was high. They had him dead to right, so he winds up at second and eventually scores on the gun double. Without him on base, they don't score in the first inning.
Yeah, those are mistakes that they won't show up in the box score tomorrow, but they are mistakes, and in tight ball games, one mistake can cost you.
Got a little Vladimir Guerrero in his swing, doesn't he? Wild and woolly, but he finds a way to get the bat on the ball.
Got some plate coverage.
Center field, Hamilton. 2 away. Hitting stars for the Pirates on this night. 3 for 4 for Gunn, 3 doubles, a run batted in and a run scored. Andrew McCutchen, a homer that tied the game. For the Reds, Ivan De Jesus, a homer that gave the Reds at one point a 2-1 lead, and Marlon Byrd, 2 for 3 and his 18th home run of the year. Looking ahead to the bottom of the 9th inning, top of the order for the Reds. Phillips, Bourgeois, Votto due up. Marte tonight hit by a pitch. Struck out, and then stretched his hitting streak to 10 straight with a base hit in the 6th inning. Two from Matthews.
If you can make a breaking ball pitch here that starts somewhere in the zone, you've got a chance to strike out Marte. He's not a very good breaking ball hitter.
Looped into right. Here comes Byrd. He's got it. Well, the Reds almost scored against Joaquin Soriano. They'll face Lorenzen next. Has been brought to you by Menards. Save big money at Menards on all your home improvement needs. And by your local Toyota dealers, proud sponsor of the Cincinnati Reds. Great to have you with us. George Grand, the Cowboy, Jeff Brantley, Jim Day. The Reds hoping for some late inning lightning on a night when the full moon shines down on Great American Ballpark. The blue moon of this month of July 2015.
Is that where that song Blue Moon of Kentucky? Keep on shining.
Or the Marcells too. Blue, 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 blue moon.
There you go.
You remember that one?
I do. Did you say Marcells?
Yeah. Remember them?
No.
Here's Mark Melancon. Boy, he's been money in the bank, hasn't he? 32 of 33 in saves for the big right-hander who once was a setup guy for Jason Grilli here. He's taken the mantle of saving ball games and headed to the All-Star game with a great first half.
Hard cutting fastball. He uses it on both sides of the plate, and it has different breaks to it, and it makes it tough to decipher for a batter.
30 straight successful save opportunities. Set a club record for the Buccos. Here's Brandon. Phillips will start it off. In his career 1 for 8 against Mark Melancon. He'll wear out that down and away corner against righties. That's in there for a strike. Locke started 5 innings, 5 hits, 3 runs after he was pinch hit for. The Buccos scored 2 to take a 5-3 lead. He stands to be the winner. Melanson can take care of business. The Reds trying to bounce back and beat the Buccos again. Way out in front, swing and a miss, and it's 1-2.
Throwing a slow curveball there.
His mechanics have been so refined. He's so compact now, Cowboy, and he's learned how to hide the ball so well.
Yeah, I remember when he came up with the Astros, I thought he had great stuff. And they traded him over to the Red Sox, and things just didn't pan out. And Pirates picked him up, and they picked up a gold mine.
Line drive, served into center by Phillips. The tying run is on. Well, here's the decision for Brian Price. Good swing by Phillips. There's your base hit. The question, if Phillips doesn't get on, he probably pinch hits Bruce here. Instead, Bourgeois will come to the plate. You expect the sacrifice here. Phillips short lead off first. Shows bunt, fouls it off.
Stabbed out.
Yep.
You hear the old saying so many times, you play for the win on the road because you don't have the last at bat, and you play for the tie at home.
Bourgeois 1 hit today and a stolen base. Phillips also has a stolen base, his 14th of the year, down at first. In tied at third, Ramirez. Shows bunt, gets it down. That'll get the runner to second.
Nice job.
Good job by Jason. Runner in scoring position out there for the hottest hitter on the planet, Joey Votto, coming to the plate.
Got the bat around earlier this time. Got the slow breaking ball, and he's able to put it right on the barrel of the bat. Just catches it with the bat. Nice bunt.
Do you walk Votto in this situation? Put the potential winning run on at first?
I don't think I would do that.
And Clint Hurdle will not do it here. Votto to the plate. Phillips down at second base. Joey 1 for 5, a homer against Mark Melanson in his career. Votto tonight 3 walks and a line drive into the right field corner that looked like it was at least heading for extra bases, but Polanco gloved it 1 step from the wall and turned it into a double play as they doubled off Bourgeois. That was back in the 5th. Here comes the chess match.
I love this part.
What the game's all about. Young behind Phillips at second. Normally they would pull him towards the second base bag, but he's right behind Phillips, trying to keep him as close as he can to prevent him from scoring on a base hit. 3 good outfield arms for this Pirates team. Not only are they fast, they all have good arms. Marte in left. He's a step deep. McCutchen in center is a step in. And Polanco's a step deep in right. But all 3 of them on a base hit might have a chance to throw out Phillips the way they're keeping him close to the bag. trying to buy another step by keeping him close at second.
Well, most plays that are at home plate are bang bang anyway. That one step can make a difference.
1 strike to Joey. Lorenzen digs in. Cervelli flashes his sign. Breaking ball misses up and in. Look more like, is that a slider or cutter?
Looked like a cutter that he got around
it.
Trying to make sure that he got it inside. You have a tendency sometimes when you're guiding that pitch to get around it with your fingers. Doesn't quite have the same velocity.
1 ball, 1 strike to Votto. Long pause from Lorenzen, and Joey will ask for time.
Lorenzen in a tough spot here. You don't want to walk the go-ahead run, but you don't want to give Votto something that he can drive into the gap or drive out of the ballpark.
Phillips bluffs, and it's fouled off to the left side. I think he might have been thinking of going. It didn't look like a play. He was 2 quick steps towards third, then slammed on the brakes. Rally caps on. Fans at the edge of their seats here at Great American. 1 ball, 2 strikes to Votto. Frazier on deck for the Reds. And the dirt will go even at 2-2. Another big crowd at Great American Ballpark, 35,000 plus. They're looking for Joey Votto to deliver. Clint Hurdle looking for Melanson to get by the Reds' best hitter. 2-2. Yes, missing up and in. Melanson thought he might have had it. Cervelli will go out and talk to his right-hander, and we'll go full 3-2. His best pitch is that cutter. Does he stay with it?
I would. That's my best pitch. Facing the Reds' best hitter right now. I'm going to try to cut that baby right in on his hands. I don't want to give Votto anything out over the plate he can hammer.
3-2. And they'll bluff Phillips back to second again. And on a night where the Reds have been trailing for the last few innings, the 35,000 plus, many on their feet now, getting back into this ball game. Just hangs in there, getting a piece of it to stay alive. Might have got his foot too.
Came down and in with the cutter there.
Yeah, got his back foot. Phillips started it with a base hit, sacrificed to second by Bourgeois. Brian Price hoping his strategy works if Votto can deliver. Todd Frazier on deck. And it's ball 4. So Lorenzen working cautiously to Votto, walks him. That's the bad news. The good news is that puts a runner at first with the chance for a double play for the Pirates, but it gives the Reds a chance to bring their best power hitter to the plate. Here comes Todd Frazier, who singled his last time up, 1 for 4. And his career 2 for 8 and a couple of strikeouts for the Reds third baseman against Lorenzen. Different scenario here while he tries to bury the slider and the cutter against Votto down and in. Against the right-hander, different way of approaching, huh?
For some reason, it's just a little more freedom without the batter standing on the side of the plate you're trying to cut the ball to.
2 on, 1 out. Missing down and in. Now there have been some great moments in this ballpark this year. The Reds started the season like a ball of fire against these Pirates here. Todd Frazier has provided Reds fans with the best moment in years with that home run derby performance that had everybody on their feet. He's trying to bring them to their feet one more time. 5-4 game here in the 9th. That's why here comes around third Phillips. Here comes the throw to the plate. It will be in time, and Phillips is nailed at the plate. A base hit by Frazier, but a perfect throw by Marte nails Brandon Phillips at the plate.
Boy, watch Marte get on this ball. Ball hit on the ground past a diving Ramirez, charging it rapidly as Marte. And a one-hop, long hop. That's what allows Cervelli to get the ball with ease. The long hop on the throw. The ball bounces well towards the third base bag, but a long hop. By the time the ball got there, it was money.
And Brian Price out. You see on the replay that Cervelli was set up in the line before he received the ball. So Price is asking for them to decide. I don't know whether he reviewed. Will they review? Yes, they will challenge. Was Cervelli blocking the plate before he received the ball? It's worth a shot. What do you have to lose?
Nothing. And it all comes back to, are you straddling the line before you catch the baseball? And he was.
And remember, a year ago in Pittsburgh, one of the more emotional challenges of the year, when the Reds were granted a challenge reversal against Russell Martin at home plate for blocking the plate. Here's Marte's throw. Didn't get any better than that. Perfect. He's set up in the line. He tags him out. And Brian Price out to challenge. So the challenge is underway. This will be a moment to remember for Reds fans and for Bucco fans. I mean, Pirate fans still are beefing about the call, and Russell Martin beefed all year long about it. It was one of those scenarios where, am I right or am I wrong? And he was wrong on that day.
Well, if they overturn this call, Clint Hurdle is going to lose his mind.
He was ejected when that occurred last time with Martin.
Ejected if they overturn this one. But what we've seen so far this year is if you're straddling that line before the ball gets there, he's out. But the ball beat Brandon to the plate by so far.
There's, like we said, he had nothing to lose by challenge, but
there's got to be some common sense.
Common sense tells you. Sure. So Phillips thrown out at the plate. That means that Votto's now at second. Frazier's down at first. There's 2 away. And can Marlon Byrd do it again? He's 2 for 3, including his 18th homer of the year. Facing Lorenzen, he's 1 for 6, a home run against him. Votto can take a bigger lead at second now with Gunn, the shortstop, over in his normal spot. They normally overshift on Byrd, but with the opportunity for the force at second, they'll keep Walker on the second base side of the bag. And we talked about the ability of this outfield not just to chase down fly balls, but all three of them have good arms, and Marte's proved to be the difference on that play.
Not only strong but accurate, as we saw from Marte there.
1-ball delivery to Byrd. Missing down and away.
But I think that play by Marte was made because of the aggressiveness charging the baseball as the ball came off the bat. He was already moving in towards the infield before the ball ever got past the diving Aramis Ramirez. You cut down space on the ball, it allows you a shorter throw, and boy, he was right on the money.
2 balls, no strikes to Byrd, the former Pirate, trying to beat his former team. And misses again. Good eye for Marlin. Now behind Byrd is Pena, the switch hitter. And remember, Jay Bruce still available, sitting on the bench. 3-0. That's a strike.
Jay's got his batting gloves on.
Got the gloves on. He's not in the hole, but he's got gloves on.
He's prepared mentally.
Three balls, 1 strike to Byrd. Votto turns around, takes a look at the 3 outfielders. This time Marte is a step or 2 deeper than he was against Frazier in left. That's in there for a strike. So we'll go full 3-2. That'll mean the 2 runners from first and second, Votto at second, Frazier at first, will be off and running with 2 away.
3-1 curveball. Watch where this starts. Above the mask of the catcher. A little dewdrop in.
What you throw on 3-1, do you throw on 3-2? The old adage. In this case, probably unlikely. Showdown. 3-2, 2 outs. Tying run at second. Winning run at first for the Reds. Melanson to Byrd. And he'll step off to send both runners back. Rip to left, sinking. Marte comes in. Did he hold on? He did. Starling Marte single-handedly saves the Pirates here in the 9th. First, a perfect throw to the plate, nabs Brandon Phillips. Then a diving catch with the potential tying and winning runs, both heading to the plate, ends the ball game. A Marte miracle here in Cincinnati. Another look, Cowboy.
This is a seeking line drive, but again, Marte on the move in quickly as the ball came off the bat. It's always about that first step in the outfield or from a defensive position in general. That is one heck of a play. Back-to-back game-saving plays by Starling Marte.
Give number 8 credit. He was